So we're here at Ongo Food Communications, which is a teaching school for cooking in Seoul, Korea. This is recommended as to be the top place to go to learn how to do everything. And they've been extremely polite. Their English is amazing, and it's very, very simple to do business with. Their classes are pretty reasonable as well. So today we're going to be doing kimchi, and we're not allowed to film the class itself or any of the teachers or anything or the recipes, but we are allowed to film the food that we are creating. So kimchi day, here we are. The kimchi class was absolutely incredible. My teacher was smiley and happy and filled with information. She truly, as most Koreans do, have a tremendous love for kimchi, and it comes through in the way she teaches because it's part of their heritage, but part of their health and part of their life. So I really enjoyed a lot of the tips that I learned. I'm not going to go in today about making kimchi because I'll do another class on that, but I wanted to go over a few things that I thought were very, very fascinating. First of all, the term kimchi means pickled vegetables. So you could see something that's green and fermented, and it still is kimchi. It's not just the Napa cabbage like we think of in America. There are over 115 different kinds of kimchi. Many of them are seasonal varieties. And so, of course, everybody has their own things that they do, meaning that the varieties really are endless. But if you haven't liked one kimchi in the past, don't give up because you might like the next one you try. Before we made this one, which was using Napa cabbage. She soaks the Napa cabbage in a saltwater brine the night before. This is what typically you do when you're making any sort of a sauerkraut as well. But this is special because it's just the Napa cabbage, not all of the ingredients. And the Napa cabbage needs to be soaked for typically overnight, but she said what you want to do is you want to be able to bend the leaf lightly. Now the salt solution should taste like the sea, but it's technically about 10% sea salt. So, but it should have a pretty salty taste to it. How long you do it depends on the kind of sea salt. One of the things that I found fascinating is that the bitter taste that some kimchis have can often be because they don't use good sea salt. Aged sea salt is by far the best. So if your budget allows you to afford that, definitely go with that option. How long to keep the kimchi is actually quite interesting because it was very different from what we had always taught people. It really should only keep between 2 and 3 weeks. It's actually ready in a few days, but 2 to 3 weeks is really about as long as you go. And how long, whether you go 2 or 3, depends on the temperature in your home. If it's obviously warmer, you want to have it less time. If it's cooler, you want to go more time. And after that time, then you can refrigerate it and it will keep for quite a while. But for the actual fermentation process, that's what you would do. Now, I asked her about making it in a crock because we actually have crocks. She had some concern with that because she was very strong about you really need to make a large batch if you're doing that, and to not go in and just take the one off the top, which is the way I was originally taught. She said any air that's hitting it really is going to affect the taste and the microbiota, so it's important to leave it alone, which means after the 2 to 3 weeks, once you feel it's ready, then you can bottle it. If you're going straight to bottles, go ahead and do that, but she did recommend having some sort of a lightly loose top or some sort of a cheesecloth over it, not so much to let the good bacteria in, but more importantly so that it doesn't explode, because it will explode. She calls them kimchi bombs. So one of the other things that I thought was interesting is she added sugar to the initial culture with the initial ingredients. Something I haven't done before, but it really does make sense. When you make any sort of a like a kefir or something such as that, the microbiota really feed rapidly off of the sugar. She doesn't use a lot, but a little bit of sugar can definitely help increase the good bacteria in the cultured foods. The other thing that she used is a fermented shrimp paste, something that I have not found a lot of, and I'm certain that I can find it at the Korean market. But in her recipe, she said if you don't have a fermented shrimp paste, you can use a fish sauce. Of course, my side note to that is to make sure that you're using a fish sauce that does not have MSG. The chili powder that she used in it, of course, my American terms of chili powder is a very fine powder, but for kimchi, they recommend a coarse chili powder, which also can be found at most Asian markets, and that will keep it from turning too bright red and making it just too, changing the color more. The flakes add a better color, taste, and texture. The next food we made was bulgogi. Bulgogi is very popular in Korea, and you can find it in many different forms. Starbucks here actually sells a bulgogi burrito, and there's Burger King has a bulgogi hamburger, and I guess Taco Bell also has a bulgogi taco. It's pretty popular because it's a thinly sliced beef, kind of with mushroom and hard to explain, but kind of this combination meat that is has a sauce that is made of soy sauce, sugar, sesame oil, garlic, leek, pear, and sesame seeds. And it's tremendous, and you find it everywhere, from everything from soups to stir fries, but typically a good bulgogi is going to be in its just straight form, and then you usually use a lettuce leaf to put a variety of different other things into it, and then eat it in a wrap with a lettuce leaf. Really fantastic, and you see young children eating this in the restaurants, and older people as well, and you can't help but understand why this culture is so healthy, because they're just not eating the breads and all the starches the same way. Yes, they eat some rice, but meat and vegetables are their primary focus, and it's just a wonderful habit to get into. A few more tips. Well, first, here's a good picture of some of the different styles of kimchi, many different varieties, and these line the markets and the streets as well, because people are eating them all day long. Just a wonderful variety of fermented foods, from greens to radishes to cabbage. This was at a local market that we got to tour, and the smells are very strong, but you get used to them very quickly. Here's a woman in the background actually making a big vat of some of the greens kimchi. These are the leeks. The leeks in Korea are different, as they're much thinner. They do not recommend to use the greens in the kimchi because it will make it slimy. The greens are primarily used to steam fish with instead. Here we have some daikon radish. As you can see, it's very thick. Big daikon radishes, also harder to find in America. Then we have some chilies, all different kinds of varieties. Of course, making all different varieties of different tastes as well. And then here's some more dried chilies, and a man who is pulverizing them to make some chili paste.
We have 45 minutes before we have to be at the Jason Mraz concert. So we came in for a quick, what are we eating?
Samgyeopsal.
Samgyeopsal?
Samgyeopsal.
Samgyeopsal. Okay. Which basically looks like giant slabs of bacon, but are going to be awesome. Look how awesome this pan is.
I know.
So you got the garlic having its own little compartment at the top. You have the mushroom and the onion fried next to it, and then all the juices run down from the pork down into the kimchi, and then they drip down. And I'm assuming I can do something with that liquid afterwards. It should not go to waste. So this is the aftermath of the meal. We're pretty full. Nobody can really eat much more. But I have to say, I think this was my favorite. Samgyeopsal. Absolutely fantastic. There's no smoky taste to the pork, so it's truly a pork belly as opposed to a piece of bacon.
Oh, we're so good on time.
But The combination of the garlic and the scallions, absolutely amazing. So that was the most amazing pork belly I've ever had.
So this is samgyeopsal, and that means it's never been frozen. It's like 100% fresh, and it's different because the college students order just samgyeopsal, which is frozen pork belly, which has been frozen, probably been sitting around for a while, but it's like $5. Whereas samgyeopsal is fresh, it's never been frozen, it's fatty, it's tasty, but it costs more. I mean, for an American meal, it's cheap. It's like usually around $10 to $12 to get it, so it's like pretty cheap for America, but for like a college student, it's like a little more pricey. So the adults eat this, which is like the not frozen, and the college students usually eat the frozen.
The concert was amazing. It was so fun to see him here in Seoul, and being with Mia and William was a blast. Mia is just a delight. It's been a true joy to be here with her again. I feel very honored that she's been able to help create this experience for John and I as well. We absolutely love Seoul, Korea.